Let's get started with ProRaster. I'm running ProRaster Premium. In ProRaster, to display a raster, you have to create an algorithm, and the easiest way to do it to get started is to let ProRaster create the algorithm for you. So from File Explorer, drag and drop the raster that you want to display straight onto the application. It will create an algorithm and display it for you. You can then publish this algorithm to MapInfo Pro. So I have MapInfo Pro running and I'll hit the Publish button. Behind the scenes, it creates an MRD file and then loads that MRD file into a map in MapInfo Pro. And you can do that whole thing manually if you wish. If you zoom in, you'll see that there's a lot of data in that algorithm. You can also export the algorithm to a located image file, which you can then load into any GIS system like QGIS or ArcGIS. So choose the output format. I'm going to choose GeoTIFF. I'm going to use 32-bit color. Select the output file name. That will do. And then set the extents of the located image. I'm going to use the full extents. And you can see the raster size that's going to be output, 51,000 by 41,000 pixels. So I'll just increase the resolution level to bring that size down to something reasonable. Hit process. It will execute that process. And then bring up QGIS. Add a raster layer. Browse to the file that you want to display, which is this TIFF file. Add it to a map, and there it's displayed. In QGIS, you'll generally want to go into the transparency option and select band 4, which is the alpha band, as the transparency band, and that removes the background pixels around the outside. The second way to get started is to add the raster as a raster source. So go into the raster source editor. Add a new raster source. Hit the Browse button. Let's add in Merit DEM. Raster sources have to have a unique name, so I'll call it Merit DEM. Just preview it. There it is. Hit OK. Now go to the Open button and say New Algorithm for raster source. Select the raster source we just created, and there's Merit DEM displayed. Let's publish that in Pro. There it is. And once again, we can zoom in. A third way to create your algorithm is to do it by default. So there are these 3 new algorithm options, each of which add a different kind of layer into the algorithm. In order to do things by scratch, you'll have to create raster sources. So let's go back into our raster source editor, add another raster source, browse to a raster file. This time I'll choose some classified data. So here's global land cover classifications. Preview it. Land cover, just rename it. Hit OK. Now I'm going to create a new algorithm using an image layer. Go to the image component in the tree and then select the appropriate raster source, land cover. Now because this algorithm has not been created for us by default, we have to do a little bit more work. We have to choose the appropriate band to display, and in an image we always have to choose a color data band. So we choose color and then we see what we're expecting to see. I can now add an intensity component to drape this color data onto some hill shading. So let's turn that on. Go to the intensity component and choose the Merit DEM as the DTM. So there we have a hill shade effect with land use color pixels. Let's see what that looks like in MapInfo Pro. There it is. Finally, if someone has given you a MRD file, you can drag and drop an MRD file straight into ProRaster. So if I drag and drop an MRD, it'll load that algorithm and there it is displayed. Or you can go to algorithms that you've recently accessed and load them via this list. Or you can simply go to the Open Algorithm option and browse for it. So that's how to get started with ProRaster.